Acceptable pull box construction guidelines begin with the materials. For the enclosure, use cold-rolled steel or galvanized steel with a minimum thickness of 0.49 inches, which is equivalent to 1.25 mm. The cover should be made of the same material as the enclosure, maintaining a minimum thickness of 0.40 inches or 1.0 mm. For gaskets, opt for neoprene or silicone rubber with a minimum thickness of 1/8 inch, which is 3.2 mm. Next, consider the construction aspects. Seams should be either welted or seam locked with a minimum overlap of 1 inch or 25 mm. Knockouts must be provided for conduit and cable entries sized appropriately and equipped with threaded hubs or lock nuts. The hinge can be concealed or external, but it should include a reinforcement plate to prevent hinge pins from bending. The latch should be durable and positive locking, ensuring the cover remains closed even under vibration or impact. There are other considerations to keep in mind as well. Grounding is essential, and the box must have a copper grounding lug or screw. Dimensions should be large enough to accommodate the installed wires and devices. Ventilation is also necessary. Knockouts or vents should be provided to allow for cable bending radius and heat dissipation. It is important to note that these guidelines are based on industry best practices and general electrical codes. However, they may not fully align with UL -50 standard. It is the responsibility of the installer to ensure compliance with local regulations and the specific requirements of the project. When selecting materials, ensure they are of adequate quality to withstand environmental factors such as temperature variations, humidity, and potential corrosion. Consider the specific application and choose materials accordingly to enhance the longevity and reliability of the pull box. In addition to the minimum thickness requirements, evaluate the gauge of the steel to ensure it provides sufficient structural integrity. Thicker gauges offer greater resistance to physical damage and are recommended for heavy-duty applications. When welding seams, use appropriate welding techniques to achieve strong and durable joints. Proper welding prevents moisture ingress and maintains the integrity of the enclosure. Pay attention to the quality of the welds to avoid weak spots that could compromise the enclosure's protective capabilities. When installing knockouts, ensure they are correctly sized to match the conduit or cable entries. Use appropriate tools to create clean and precise openings to prevent damage to the enclosure and ensure a secure fit. Proper knockout installation is crucial for maintaining the enclosure's NEMA rating and protecting against environmental elements. Consider using adjustable or concentric knockouts to accommodate various conduit sizes and provide flexibility during installation. For hinges, select a type that suits the intended use of the pull box. Concealed hinges offer a cleaner aesthetic and provide enhanced security, while external hinges allow for easier access and maintenance. Ensure the hinge mechanism is robust enough to withstand repeated opening and closing without compromising its functionality. Reinforcement plates are essential for preventing hinge pins from bending, especially in heavy-duty applications. When choosing a latch, prioritize durability and ease of use. Positive locking latches ensure that the cover remains securely closed, preventing accidental opening or unauthorized access. Consider using latches with tamper-resistant features to enhance security. The grounding lug or screw should be securely connected to the enclosure to provide an effective grounding path. Use appropriate grounding techniques to minimize the risk of electrical shock and ensure the safety of personnel and equipment. Proper grounding is crucial for compliance with electrical codes and standards. When determining the dimensions of the pull box, consider the number and size of conductors, the bending radius requirements, and the space needed for any devices or components housed within the enclosure. Adequate space ensures proper wire management and prevents overcrowding, which can lead to overheating and electrical hazards. Ventilation is essential for dissipating heat generated by conductors and devices within the pull box. Knockouts or vents should be strategically placed to promote airflow and prevent the buildup of excessive heat. Consider using screen vents to prevent the ingress of insects or debris. When designing and constructing a custom electrical pull box, it's crucial to prioritize safety and compliance with relevant standards and regulations. Adhering to industry best practices and guidelines helps ensure the reliability and longevity of the electrical system, while minimizing the risk of electrical hazards. Always consult with qualified electrical professionals to ensure that the design and construction meet the specific requirements of the application and local codes. In addition to the material and construction guidelines, consider the environmental conditions in which the pull box will be installed. For outdoor applications, ensure that the enclosure is weatherproof and corrosion resistant. Use appropriate coatings and sealants to protect against moisture, UV radiation, and other environmental factors. For indoor applications, consider the presence of dust, chemicals, or other contaminants that could affect the performance and longevity of the pull box. Select materials and construction methods that are resistant to these contaminants. When selecting a location for the pull box, consider accessibility for maintenance and future modifications. Ensure that the pull box is easily accessible for inspection, testing, and repairs. Avoid placing the pull box in locations that are difficult to reach or prone to obstruction. Proper labeling is essential for identifying the contents and function of the pull box. Use durable and legible labels to indicate the voltage, circuit number, and other relevant information. Clear labeling helps prevent confusion and ensures that personnel can quickly identify the correct pull box for maintenance or troubleshooting. Regular inspection and maintenance are crucial for ensuring the continued safe and reliable operation of the pull box. Inspect the enclosure for signs of damage, corrosion, or wear. Check the tightness of connections and grounding components. Clean the interior of the pull box to remove dust, debris, and other contaminants. Address any issues promptly to prevent them from escalating into more serious problems. When making modifications or additions to the pull box, ensure that the changes comply with applicable codes and standards. Use appropriate materials and techniques to maintain the integrity of the enclosure and grounding system. Avoid overloading the pull box with too many conductors or devices. Proper planning and design are essential for ensuring that the pull box can safely and effectively accommodate the intended load. In addition to the above considerations, it's important to stay informed about changes to electrical codes and standards. Electrical codes are constantly evolving to address new technologies, safety concerns, and best practices. Staying up to date with the latest codes and standards helps ensure that your pull box design and construction are compliant and safe. Consider attending industry training sessions or subscribing to relevant publications to stay informed about changes to electrical codes and standards. Consult with qualified electrical professionals for guidance on interpreting and applying these codes to your specific project. When working on electrical projects, always prioritize safety. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. De-energize circuits before working on them and verify that they are de-energized using a reliable testing device. Follow lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental re-energization. Work in a well-lit and organized workspace. Avoid distractions and take regular breaks to prevent fatigue. Electrical work can be dangerous, so it's important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. When selecting components for the pull box, choose products that are listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory such as UL et al. Or CSA. Listed and labeled products have been tested and certified to meet specific safety and performance standards. Using listed and labeled products helps ensure that your pull box components are reliable and safe. Consider the long-term cost of ownership when selecting materials and components for the pull box. Cheaper materials and components may seem attractive in the short term, but they may not be as durable or reliable as higher quality options. Investing in quality materials and components can save you money in the long run by reducing the need for repairs and replacements. When designing and constructing a custom electrical pull box, it's important to have a clear understanding of the electrical system and the specific requirements of the application. Consult with qualified electrical professionals to ensure that the design meets all applicable codes and standards and that the installation is performed safely and correctly. With careful planning, attention to detail, and adherence to best practices, you can create a custom electrical pull box that is safe, reliable, and compliant with all relevant regulations. The pull box should also be easily accessible for future maintenance and modifications. Consider the placement of the pull box to ensure it is not obstructed by equipment or other objects. Allow sufficient clearance around the pull box for personnel to work safely and efficiently. When selecting the size of the pull box, consider the potential for future expansion. Choose a size that can accommodate additional conductors or devices if needed. This can save you time and money in the long run by avoiding the need to replace the pull box if your electrical system changes. In addition to the grounding lug or screw, consider adding a grounding busbar to the pull box. A grounding busbar provides a convenient and reliable point for connecting multiple grounding conductors. Ensure that the grounding busbar is properly sized to accommodate the number of grounding conductors that will be connected to it. When installing conductors in the pull box, follow proper wire management techniques. Use cable ties or other methods to bundle and organize the conductors. This helps prevent tangling and makes it easier to trace circuits. Avoid overcrowding the pull box with too many conductors. Overcrowding can lead to overheating and electrical hazards. If the pull box becomes overcrowded, consider using a larger pull box or splitting the circuits into multiple pull boxes. When making connections in the pull box, use appropriate connectors and tools. Ensure that the connections are tight and secure. Loose connections can lead to arcing and overheating. Use a torque wrench to tighten the connections to the manufacturer's specified torque. After completing the installation, inspect the pull box to ensure that all connections are properly made and that all components are securely mounted. Verify that the grounding system is properly installed and that all conductors are properly labeled. Test the circuits to ensure that they are functioning correctly. Document the installation and keep a record of the pull box location, circuit numbers, and other relevant information. This information can be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Regularly inspect the pull box and perform maintenance as needed. Check for loose connections, corrosion, and other signs of damage. Repair or replace any damaged components promptly. Keep the pull box clean and free of debris. Debris can accumulate inside the pull box and create a fire hazard. With proper installation, maintenance, and care, a custom electrical pull box can provide years of reliable service. Always prioritize safety and follow all applicable codes and standards. Consult with qualified electrical professionals for guidance on any questions or concerns. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, so it's important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your custom electrical pull box is safe, reliable, and compliant with all relevant regulations. Proper design, installation, and maintenance are essential for ensuring the long-term performance of your electrical system. When working with electrical systems, always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals for guidance.